Welcome students. Today we are going to see about fractions. Do you know what is a fraction? A fraction is a part of a whole. Now let us see the picture. In this picture there are 12 boxes. Among them 3 were shaded. We note the fraction as 3 by 12. Let us see the picture. In the picture is divided into 4 parts. Among them, one is shaded. We note that as fraction 1 by 4. In the picture, the number above the line is called as numerator and the number below the line is called as the denominator. Therefore, a fraction may be numerator divided by denominator. We now have the division of whole number into half and 3/4 by the following. Let us see the picture. Here, picture is divided into 2 parts. One part is shaded. We call it as half of the whole. Let us see the picture. Here, picture is divided into 4 parts. One part is shaded. We call it as quarter of the whole. Let us see the picture. Here, a square is divided into 4 parts. 3 parts are shaded. We call it as 3/4 of the whole. Therefore, we denote them as 1 by 2, 1 by 4 and 3 by 4. We call these numbers as fractions. Now, we shall see about a proper fraction. If the numerator is less than the denominator, then the fraction is called as a proper fraction. Example, 3 divided by 5, 12 divided by 15, 13 divided by 40. Now, coming to improper fraction. If the denominator is less than the numerator, then the fraction is called as an improper fraction. Example, 6 by 5, 12 by 7, 23 by 12. Next is mixed fraction. If a fraction contains a whole number and a fractional number, then it is called as a mixed fraction. Example, 3 5 by 7. We can convert 3 5 by 7 as 26 divided by 7. Next is like fractions. The examples of like fractions are 1 by 14, 3 by 14, 6 by 14, 5 by 14 and so on. Observe the given series. What do you find? In the above series, all the fractions are having the same denominator and different numerator. This type of fractions are called as like fractions. Coming to unlike fractions, 3 by 4, 5 by 7, 6 by 19, 2 by 13. Observe the given series. What do you find? In the above series, all the fractions are having different denominators and different numerators. This type of fractions are called as unlike fractions. Now, we are going to see how we can convert the fractions. Convert mixed fraction into an improper fraction. For example, take 3 1 by 5. Here, 3 is a whole number and 1 by 5 is the fractional number. To convert 3 1 by 5 as an improper fraction, first we have to multiply the denominator 5 with the whole number 3, we will get 15. Then add 15 with the numerator and take 5 as the denominator. By that we get 3 1 by 5 as 16 by 5. From that we know denominator into whole number plus numerator divided by denominator. Are you clear? Now, we are going to convert improper fraction into mixed fraction. Conversion of improper fraction into mixed fraction. For example, you can take 35 divided by 6. Here, numerator 35 is greater than the denominator 6. So, it is an improper fraction. Now, we are going to convert the improper fraction 35 divided by 6 into a mixed fraction. For that conversion, 35 by 6 is a mixed fraction. First, we have to divide the numerator 35 by the denominator 6. Then we will get. Here the quotient is 5 and the remainder is 5 and the dividend is 6. Now, we put the quotient 5 as the whole number and the remainder 5 as the numerator and the dividend 6 as the denominator. So, we get 35 by 6 into 5 by 6. Coming to equivalent fractions. Dear students, now we are going to see something about the equivalent fractions. Do you all know what is an equivalent fraction? When two or more fractions represent the same part of a whole, the fractions are called as an equivalent fractions. Let us see the picture. Let us divide a rectangle into two equal parts and shade one part. The shaded part is known as 1 by 2 of the whole part. Let us see the picture. Here we divide the same rectangle into 4 equal parts and shade 2 parts. Shaded portion is divided as 2 by 4 of the whole part. Let us see the picture. We divide the same rectangle into 6 equal parts and shade 3 parts. Shaded part is denoted as 3 by 6 of the whole part. In all the above figure, the shaded portions are equal, but they can be represented by different fractions. That is, 1 by 2 is equal to 2 by 4 is equal to 3 by 6. These are called as equivalent fractions. Let us now find the equivalent fractions of 2 by 3. Keep the multiple cards of the numerator and the denominator as shown in the following figure. These fractions are called as equivalent fractions. When the numerator and the denominator are multiplied by the same number, we get equivalent fractions. Try to write in 5 equivalent fractions to 3 by 7. To get equivalent fraction, multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Therefore, 3 by 7 is equal to 3 by 7 into 2 by 2 is equal to 6 by 14. 3 by 7 is equal to 3 by 7 into 3 by 3 is equal to 9 by 21. 3 by 7 into 4 divided by 4 is equal to 12 divided by 28. 3 by 7 into 5 divided by 5 is equal to 15 divided by 35. That is, 3 by 7 is equal to 6 by 14 is equal to 9 by 21 is equal to 12 by 28, that is equal to 15 by 35. Expressing the fraction in its lowest form. Now consider 15 by 18. We are going to find the lowest form of 15 by 18. Divisor of 15 are 1, 3, 5 and 15. Divisors of 18 are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 and 18. In both the numbers, 3 is the common divisor. So, we can take 15 by 18 as 3 into 5 by 3 into 6. Now, we cancel the common divisors 3 on both the numerator and denominators, so that we get 5 by 6. Again, divisors of 5 are 1 and 5. Divisors of 6 are 1, 2, 3 and 6. As there is no common divisors for 5 and 6, 5 by 6 is the lowest form of 15 by 18. Equivalent fractions have the same value, so they can be represented by a single number. So, we express it in the lowest form where there is a common factor for the numerator and the denominator. Now, coming to comparison of fractions. By comparing both fractions, we can easily find out which is the greater and which is the smaller. In the fractions 3 by 8 and 5 by 8, do you know which one is greater? Let us take a rectangle and divide into 8 parts. Shade 3 parts only. Again take a rectangle and divide into 8 parts. Shade 5 devices on the rectangle. Comparing both the rectangle, we observe that 3 by 8 is lesser than 5 by 8. When fractions have the same denominator, we can compare only the numerator and decide whether the fraction is greater. Therefore, 5 by 8 is greater than 3 by 8. Now coming to which is greater here, 9 by 11 or 7 by 11. The denominator of 9 by 11 or 7 by 11 are same. So, we compare the numerators. As 9 is greater than 7, so we have 9 by 11 greater than 7 by 11. Now coming to addition of like fractions. Now we are going to add two like fractions, 1 by 8 plus 3 by 8. Here both fractions have the same denominator 8. So, we add the numerator, that is 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. Therefore, the result is 4 by 8. For addition of fractional numbers with the same denominator, all the numerators are added and the sum is written as numerator in the result, keeping the denominator same. Now, we shall see about subtraction of like fractions. In subtraction of like fractions, find out which is the greater and subtract the smaller from the greater. For example, 2 divided by 4 minus 1 divided by 4. Here we take 4 as denominator. For numerator, we have to subtract 1 from 2. Therefore, we get 1 divided by 4. Now coming to comparison of unlike fractions. Here we are going to learn about unlike fractions. Look at this, which is a greater, 1 by 4 or 2 by 5. Observe that the denominator are different. Fractions having different denominator are called unlike fractions. To add, subtract and to compare, we have to convert the unlike fraction to like fractions. How can we convert the unlike fraction into like fraction? Consider the unlike fraction 1 by 4 and 2 by 5. Convert them into like fractions without changing their values. How to convert them into like fraction without changing their values? Convert unlike fractions into like fractions by finding their equivalent fractions. Here, equivalent fractions of 1 by 4 are 2 by 8, 3 by 12, 5 by 20, 6 by 24, and equivalent fraction of 2 by 5 are 4 by 10, 6 by 15, 8 by 20. It is important to see whether the denominators of two fractions are same. Here 20 is the same denominator for 5 by 20 and 8 by 20. So, we can write 1 by 4 as 5 by 20 and 2 by 5 as 8 by 20 without changing their values. Now coming to decimals. Dear students, we are going to learn about decimals. The numbers written in decimal form are called as decimal numbers or simply decimals. The fractions in which the denominator are 10, 100, 1000, etc. are known as decimal fractions. For example, 7 by 10, 60 by 100, 395 by 1000, etc. are called decimal fractions. The dot in a decimal representation is called decimal point. A decimal number has two parts separated by a decimal point. The whole number part is to the left of the decimal point and the decimal point is to its right. For example, in 352.89, the whole number part is 352 and the decimal point is 0.89. Now coming to like and unlike decimals. Decimal places. The number of digits contained in a decimal part of a decimal number is the number of decimal places in it. Example, the number 6.38 has 2 decimal places and 14.749 has 3 decimal places. Like decimals. Decimals having the same number of decimal places are called like decimals. Examples: decimals 5.67, 0.89, 13.74, 8.60 are like decimals, each having 2 places of decimals. Now coming to unlike decimals. Decimals having different number of decimal places are called unlike decimals. Examples: the numbers 12.53, 8.968 and 0.7 are unlike decimals. We may convert unlike decimals into like decimals by annexing the desired number of zeros at the end of the decimal point. Now next we are going to see comparing decimals. First, convert the given decimals into like decimals. Compare the whole number parts. The decimal with the greater whole number part is greater than the number. If the whole number parts are equal, compare the 10th digits. The decimal with the bigger digits. The decimal with the bigger digit in the 10th place is greater. If the 10th digits are equal, compare the 100 digits and so on. Now next is addition of decimals. First, convert the given decimal into like decimals. Write the addends one under the other so that the decimal points of all the addends are in the same column. Add as in the case of whole numbers. In the sum, put the decimal point directly under the decimal points in the addends. By the same method, we can subtract 2 decimals for difference. Now coming to multiplication of 2 decimals. In the product place, the decimal point so that the number of decimal places in the product is equal to the sum of the decimal places in the given decimals. Now coming to divisions of decimals. Divide the dividend by the whole number and put the decimal places as the given in the dividend. In this session, we have seen about the fractions and the types of fractions, the multiplication, subtraction and multiplication of fractions. Then we have seen about decimals and the types of decimals and the addition, subtraction, multiplication and divisions of decimals. I hope you all enjoyed this session. Thank you, students.